Greetings and salutations, Ben here, and welcome to the Sunday Night Hang right here on the YouTubes, on the Googleverse. Hit like, hit subscribe, share if you will. Yeah, it's a podcast that you can watch as well as listen to. How do you just listen to it? Just close your eyes or turn down the brightness on your screen or switch to another tab while it's playing. Purely up to you. And tonight I have returning, I don't know, fourth time? Sure, let's go with that. One of my bestest friends in the whole wide world. Why? Because he knows tone so well that he plays music. He helps distribute tone by selling the tools you need to make better tone and interrupting that tone on occasion. Why? Because we're talking Tesi Switches. Welcome back, Rob.
Thank you. Yes, my business is making your guitar stop making noise. It's one of the ironies about what I do.
Yep. How does it improve my tone? It doesn't. It gets rid of it.
No. Well, I'll tell you what it does do is if you ever have, so what happens is when you turn your volume down, if you ever look at a volume pot, oh, you know what, I've got right here. If you ever look at a volume pot, here we go. And you see, this one's a used one, but the three prongs that you get that are typical.
Right.
You've got the far, depending on how you look at it, the far left or right, depending on how you're looking at it, is the input, right? So this is your signal path. The middle one is the output. And then the typical wiring will take this third one opposite of your input, because that could be an input as well. But
I was going to say, isn't that the difference between making a lefty pot or a righty pot? Depends on which plug.
Yes, it's exactly what. Although I know, I mean, I've teased people about left-handed pots, but if you have an audio taper pot, which if you know an audio taper, so imagine, let's go back so you can see here. Let's flatten out my arm. Okay, so the audio taper pot starts here at 0, kind of slowly goes up and then ramps up when you turn it all the way up. A linear taper pot has a straight line,
right,
as you turn the knob up. So it gradually and exponentially increases in equal increments as you turn it up, whereas the audio taper starts slow and then ramps up. And most instruments have an audio taper pot in there. So if you have what some people call a left-handed pot, that audio taper is reversed. So instead of starting off slow and then I don't know, maybe it's not. Maybe it's the same kind of curve,
right?
Because the curve is just, I don't know. You know, that's maybe not my area of expertise. But so all you're doing when you turn the knob down is you're sending the signal to this pin, which is grounded,
right?
And if anyone who has ever wired a guitar up would know, when you've mistakenly got a wire touching a ground, no sound comes out. So, and then that's how our kill switches work as well, is you just press it and it grounds your signal out.
Awesome. Let's welcome everybody in the chat here. Wow, we've got quite the crew in here already. 44. Nice. Starting at the bottom, we have my main roadie himself, Mark Taft, in the chat. Nice. Eddie Van Haskell's here. Scott Brockaway, Brad Guitar Miller, Randy Crooks. Let's see, Gear Junkie 35. Of course, my lovely sister Amanda's here. Imagine that. Janice Lala, Jay Steen, Craig Tomlinson, the one and only SPJ himself, Sean Pierce Johnson. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Let's see, who else do we have here? Terry's 3Gs, co-host of Canucks with Guitars and moderator to the Stars. And we got Brad already, where he's plugging the website along with the coupon code. That's right. Shopping at TesiSwitch.com. Use coupon code Canucks and save 15%. Terry put it in here as well. There's Thomas Santiago. Unfucking believable. Magic Man's here. John Duchesne. Let's see. The Outback Tone Shack. Floop-de-doo. Steve Luther. BC Rich 581. The one and only Fruitcake Tony. Max Josephson's here. Mickey Settlemeyer. Michael B. Guitar Man 45. Hip Metal Works. Nice. Dan of New Jersey. Charmaine Taylor's here. Welcome back, Charmaine. Other left, perfect. Some guy named Ben Coombs, never heard of him. Charles 75N, Simon Mayu, Mike Capsamalis, Lawrence Kashavarov. Yes. I'm working on it, Lawrence. House of Twang, Billy Baloney, Martin Lemaire. They're all early risers. Symmetry in here. You guys are all just talking up Storm before we even started. Paul McNary, I saw. And anyone else joining in. Frosty's here. Jeff K, Dave Ennis, T. Ricky, Zach Thong, Cool Tunes Made Easy, Vince RJ. Yep. 10 more people just while we jumped in, including Keith H. They're like, oh, he's doing a roll call.
Just right. And you know what, you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Ben's going to read them out loud because I can't see the chat today. Yep. I usually can, not today.
So, tag me or put some question marks in the front, stand out with a super chat. I'll try to get to any and all of them. Jason Lindholm's here. Perfect. I did see here. Let's see. What did I see in here? Where was it? I thought I saw a question. Unbelievable says so many questions. Yeah. Let's see. Randy Crook says, hey, Rob, sometime through the show, we'd love to see some of your guitars. Oh, we're going to be showing guitars, and one in particular.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah, Unbelievable says, well, tech nerdery. Very quick. Awesome. Yep. Nice. Amanda says, we see new guitars. Well, yeah.
No, you don't. I mean, I guess they're all new to somebody, right?
Sure.
No, I've got a couple of cool things that I've done. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that one, which is kind of washed out by the light, and you will have seen that one. And you probably would have seen that one as well, which is brand new. I got it on Thursday, and it's already all scratched up from the weekend endeavors.
Well, that's the right way to do it. There's down and back with corn dog.
The guitar that's not scratched is just not living its full life.
Exactly. Got to relic it a little. Then you're not afraid to you're tiptoeing around with it when you first get it. Once you get that first scratch, you're like, meh, whatever.
Oh, I took a photo. So I had that and my white Charvel that has the LEDs inside the cavity. I took a photo of that, like leaning up against my keyboard, and like you could see the helix on the floor, and I went snap, and then somebody in the band was like, hey Rob, you got some batteries, or I don't know, whatever thing distracted me, and as my back was turned, both of them fell over. I mean, before we'd even played a note. It was amazing.
A tone question from Unbelievable asks, Rob, what will help noiseless pickups in an American Strat have tone?
That is a great question. I've heard some noiseless pickups that sound great. I like the lace pickups, and you can get the sensors in varying degrees of hotness. There's the blue, silver, red, gold. I think now they've got emerald and maybe a purple. I don't know. It's been a while since I've gone through their lineup. And it depends on what tone you're looking for. I think that the relationship between pickup and amplifier has always been really underplayed. Like take Steve Vai, for example. His amps are high gain. His pickups are medium output. So he's relying on the amplifier to give you the tone.
Sure.
While the pickups have their tonal characteristics, and every pickup does. But if you put a higher gain pickup through a higher gain amplifier, even if the tonal characteristics of the pickup are the same, aside from just the output level, it's going to change the way the amplifier reacts to the pickup. I think just for noiseless pickups, and nothing against Fender, I'm not a fan of their noiseless pickups. But how do you put tone into it? I think you just try until you find one that suits you, because there are really good ones out there. If you haven't seen them, and I've had them in guitars before, I don't think I have any with it in there now, but the Lace Alumitone pickups, have you seen those? It's essentially just a shell, a pickup shaped shell,
right?
That like, if you were to look at it, it just kind of, sorry, I'm still trying to get used to where this camera is. And then underneath there is the coil, but the coil is tiny. The coil doesn't go around this big old bobbin around the magnets like you'd see. The magnets are just flat magnetic strips, and then the coil is almost like not even part. It's wired into the magnets and just kind of sits underneath the shell. But the pickups weigh nothing, because the block itself is aluminum, and it doesn't have 6,742 copper winds around a big old bobbin. It's much fewer winds around a much smaller, I don't know, solenoid maybe you'd call it. I don't know. They'd be able to, at Lace, they'd be able to tell you. But yeah, and those don't pick up any. I guess it's not as big of a deal anymore, because we all have flat, like nobody has a CRT screen anymore.
Right.
But when they came out with it, I would be doing recording, and if I'd get up too close to my computer, I'd get that CRT interference coming through my pickups. But it didn't happen on the Alumitone pickups, so they're good at rejecting outside interference, whether it's from a CRT,
sure,
or from any other like weird RF interference sources.
Nice. Somebody also mentioned TesiSwitch.com, a great source for replacement Wolfgang knobs.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, because I brought a couple up here. So obviously the black is the one that you see everywhere, but sure. I have purple.
Oh
yeah. White ones.
Oh. All right.
Yeah. Oh, look, that's orange. Clear.
Oh.
This one looks like almost like a TS-808 green.
It does.
Amongst other colors, but those are the ones I brought up here to show off. Yeah, you know what? And I've got cream, and I've got red, dark red, blue, dark blue, gray, dark gray, yellow.
Now I want to replace the knobs on my Wolfgang.
The black, I've got black where the line on it is a glow in the dark line. And yeah, these have been really popular.
Yes, I hadn't even got to your question yet, Amanda. She's like, well, that covers half my question, because she was asking, yeah, wink, wink, any new knobs and or switches available that we may not be aware of?
Yeah, there are. Well, I don't. Probably since the last time we talked, Ben, did I have the low profile switches? One of the biggest complaints that I've had, I don't know if I would call it a complaint, maybe a request, but people who have like Ibanez Sabre guitars, is that still a thing? The S series, anyway, the really thin body guitars, sure. Or a really tight cavity where you just can't have like a long switch in there. So I have this, which is called the Allura.
Ooh.
And it is a much smaller mounting area, or depth requirement. You can bend the wires. This will fit in anything. This will literally fit in any, unless you're playing on a piece of cardboard with no back to it, I guess. I don't know. If you can fit a pickup in a guitar, you can fit this in a guitar, is what it comes down to. So it's the Allura, it's the low profile. I've got them in stainless steel black and an anodized gold. 16 millimeter is the smallest. That's This one is the 19 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, I'm sorry, man, I'm not used to using this.
Right.
I'm using
This
a
actually
tablet.
ties in with Steve Luther's question. He says, I want to do mods, but I'm worried about the soldering. Anything easy to start with? Yes, a Tesi switch, because you can't fry it out. Like if you put too much heat to it. Well, you can't. Well, could you? You'd have to do an awful lot of heat.
Ben, technically you couldn't, because my switches come with wires. Right. They're already attached to the switch itself. This is where you're going to burn the switch out, because if the terminals there get too hot, it's going to melt the stuff inside, and these terminals are going to come loose, and then when you press it, nothing will happen. But because my switches all come with wires, I'm having a hard time imagining that you'd be able to get it so hot that the heat would go all the way up this,
right,
and then be able to damage this.
Exactly.
But the other thing
is, don't use a propane torch to do it, Steve.
No, in fact, something that you can use that you can find on my website. Shameless.
Literally, my sister just put, I saw a soldering kit on the Tesi site as well.
Ding, 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 ding. So what's cool about, I've got these soldering irons, and obviously I'm not making them. I found a good source from overseas that has supplied me with really, they're nice feeling. They've got these buttons on here. So it's a digital soldering iron. It's not digital. It's got a digital readout on the soldering iron that you can select your temperature, and it's going to be accurate plus or minus 5 degrees. It heats up rather quickly, so it'll go from 0 to whatever, 500 degrees Fahrenheit or so in about 15-20 seconds. So you're not waiting forever for it to heat up. It's 80 watts. So the minimum temperature in Fahrenheit, and the specs are all on my website, but the minimum temperature in Fahrenheit, I think, is going to be 360 ? It's right around there. And I think it'll go up to 790. If you can't solder something, if you try to solder anything at 790 degrees, you're being reckless.
That's okay for output jacks, and that's about it on a guitar.
No, I mean, you don't even need that. I never get hotter than.
And I'm just thinking anything, like any other part you touch on a guitar with it that hot, you're going to do damage.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it'll destroy a volume pot. The hottest I really ever get it is around 650 degrees Fahrenheit. It's and even then, just take care that when you use it, you're touching it on there long enough to heat the part up for just 2 seconds, dab a little bit of solder on there, and then pull it off. If you need more, wait a second and then just do it again. But don't keep it on there for 25 seconds, because that's how you
soldering the ground on a trem claw. You'd want to crank it right up.
You know what? When you have like a coated, like a nickel coated part that you're trying to solder, and honestly, at the back of volume pots, if you ever look inside your guitar, and the back of your volume pot looks like this one, where there's just mountains of ridiculous solder on there.
Yep.
It's because the coating on the case here can make it difficult for solder to want to adhere to it.
That's true. That's why if you're using new pots, you always got to give them a sand.
Yeah. I'll scrape them with just something sharp, just to like a little crosshatch pattern or something on it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So these are $20. They come with one extra tip and a little bit of solder. Certainly they're good for more than one use, but if you're only going to use it like a couple of times, like I use a soldering gun for a soldering iron for hours and hours every day. So, I would be able to use this, and I don't know how long it would last, but it would certainly last quite a while. It's a quality soldering iron. But the one that I bought was pretty expensive, and if you are not going to use a soldering iron forever, don't buy the cheap one at like Harbor Freight Tools that's $8 because that one's not going to have adjustable temperature, and you're definitely going to destroy something with it. And then it probably is going to only last you for the one botched project that you did. But go ahead and spend a little bit more, get one that will do the job right, and you can keep it and use it on a future project. But if you don't ever need it again, well, at least it wasn't $80.
Exactly. Simon was asking, are these pots better than DeMarzio or Seymour Duncan pots? We weren't actually talking about the pot. We are just using it as a prop, teaching tool, if you will. But
yeah,
you do sell pots, do you not, on the site?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything like proprietary. The companies that, so it's been a while since I've had any like connections or like factory visits with Seymour Duncan, but I have been to their factory and I used to know a lot of people there. They have not had the capacity or the capability of making pots. I have a feeling that they're just ordering pots from CRL, probably. That's where they're coming from. CRL?
CTS?
CTS, yeah. I think that it's CRL is the pickup selector. That's what this is. That's what this move is. The CTS. I think they're just ordering from CTS, and obviously you buy enough of them, and they'll stamp your logo in the bottom.
Just
and I'm
like,
sure
any OEM supplier does.
Yeah, and it's the same with But so I have CTS pots. I have some alpha pots. I have probably just those two. To be honest, that's one of those components in your guitar that I just don't think contributes anything or detracts anything from the tone. This is, maybe it's an unpopular opinion. Maybe it's just my opinion. Maybe we all think that. I've never had this conversation with anybody. What do you think, Ben?
I just run my pots wide open all the time anyway. So the only time I notice a shitty pot is if it's crackling all the time, or you move it past 9 and it's gone. It's such a taper that there's nothing, it's on off basically on a really deep pot.
Yeah. So
beyond that, but yeah, as far as like in a gigging environment, as far as using it as a tool, I don't. I use the tone knob more than the volume knob, and the tone is only because, I'm a touch shrill. Let's back off the tone until I can ease back to the amp to make an adjustment.
Yeah, and honestly, unless you're finessing the volume knob, allowing it to control how much signal is going out to your amp, and then the taper is the taper matters. But if you had identical tapers on two different pots, I mean, all it is electrical current running through a wiper. I just don't know how any of it's going to be any different from one brand to the next.
Right.
But I'm a big believer in branding.
Sure.
And if Seymour Duncan wants to have, I don't even know how much their pots are. Are they $15? Are they $20? Are they? I don't even know. But one of the things that they do really well is that they've had their varying degrees of friction.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got like the Yngwie Malmsteen low friction pots, and then you can get like from Fender, you can get the EVH low friction or high friction pots, and those are probably all CTS pots.
Yeah.
If I was a betting man, that's where I'm at.
I think the EVH one, they were using Borns for a while.
Oh, you know what? That's possible.
I think. Want to welcome in a bunch of people. We got Bent Tom, Ron Padgett. Who else do I see sneaking here? Metalhead Hippie, Poo Ninja, RJ the Mad One. Lots of folks in here. And Unfucking Believable says the piezo pickup, or piezo, depending on who you talk to, went on his Parker Fly. Can we suggest a replacement?
Ooh. Well, you know what? I would check to see if is it the whole thing? Because that one had individual saddle pickups, right?
I think so.
I think it's got in. So is it all of them, or is it just one saddle?
Yeah.
please answer in the chat.
Please do. And let us know if it's a strip versus individual style. Because I think it is individual saddle. I'm 99% sure.
Parker
okay,
Fly.
Yes. So it must be individual saddle. All right.
So which string went out, or did they all go out? Because if they all went out, then I don't think the problem is the pickup. I think there's probably some wiring.
Yeah, circuitry. Let's see here. We'll find out. I'll follow up on that one. In the meantime, I saw a new person in here. I want to say Janice. I'm not even going to try to say that last name. It's long and it's got a lot of letters. Hi. I want to replace the P90 pickups on the Epiphone Casino Coupe. Please give me some suggestions. Well, I like my signature P90 set. Although they would be unruly in a casino. An overwound P90 is not the smartest option in a hollow body. Just saying.
And it depends. It depends on what you're going for. Definitely on a hollow body, you want something with lower output. And
Waller makes a great set.
Yeah, they do. I would also look for potentially like a humbucker in a P90 shape.
So a mini humbucker.
Mini humbuckers, and they're a little different. Like if you go to DiMarzio's website and you can find P90.
Oh yeah, because they're a little longer.
Yeah, you can find P90 shaped humbuckers, and if I'm not mistaken, maybe they call. What did Gibson call it? A P94 or a P100?
Yeah, the P100, I think. Or is that the
was that a P90 in a standard humbucker shape?
You never get rid of your P90s, RJ. He's like, go actives, get rid of the P90s. They're evil. No, that's half the fun. They are evil.
Although, I really like the look of them, and they've been gaining popularity over the last few years. But like the vintage style P90s with the gold foil.
Oh yeah.
And they look really cool. In the 70s, they had the cheapest Japanese garbage guitars had those pickups in them. They're good pickups. And now there are companies that are making, Lawler's one of them, where you get the gold foil, right. And they're fantastic sounding pickups, and it just adds something interesting to look at on the guitar.
And Terry points out the Casino has the dog ear P90s too, so that may limit it a bit.
Oh yeah, so I know that DiMarzio makes dog ear P90s.
Yep.
Probably Duncan. I'm sure Duncan does too.
You Metalhead Hippie. Cheers, buddy. And Blackjack Guitars in here. Nice.
Well, there you go. You win one, you lose one.
Yeah, you can just take his spot.
You know who you are, Ben. You're even Steven.
I am. I try. Flat EQ. But don't bump.
You're flat EQ.
No boosting here. What else did I see in here? And the follow-up, somebody mentioned I'd want the white Wolfgang knobs. I don't know, white or off-white. I'm thinking the off-white might be better because the binding is off-white.
Now, keep in mind, like a lot of your guitar's white finishes, like on my Charvel, I actually put the cream one on there.
Right.
Because even though the guitar was nice bright white when I first got it, it has since dulled a bit and aged in a very nice way. So it's a gorgeous looking guitar, but it's the bright white knob on it would look odd because the finish is no longer bright white. I've dropped something.
Yeah, I'm thinking we would go with the off-white too because it would match the pickups.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yep. I'm thinking it. Maybe we'll do a vote in the chat. What do you think, folks? That's why I'm not having you try any pedals tonight, because every time you're on, I end up buying something.
Yeah, well.
Hey, Ben, check out this rainbow machine I just got in. Dang it! All right.
Yeah, how do you like that?
It's featuring prominent. I'm putting together a noise rock board, and I'm like, what do we wrap up this board with? I'm like, rainbow machine.
There you go.
I'm thinking,
yeah. And are you using like an external expression pedal or anything with it?
I haven't done that yet, but yes.
If you,
Do I have
not
one?
that I'm trying to sell you more gear, but if you check out any demos of the Astral Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
and especially some of the demos where they're using it with the synth, and it's it's got the delay on there, but it also has like huge time shifts, and I don't know. And then with the expression pedal, there's just an endless amount of noisescaping that you can do with that. It's such a cool pedal.
I've got a Boss volume pedal here, but it doesn't always like to work as an expression pedal.
A lot of them don't, and I couldn't tell you why that is.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's annoying.
Maybe there's something that you could do with a stereo, basically a Y cable. So it's got two mono quarter-inch to one stereo quarter-inch, and run that in and out of the Boss volume, because it's essentially doing the same thing, right? And then if it's not working the way you want it to, just reverse the order of the cables on the expression pedal or on the volume pedal.
Very cool. Hey, there's Jay 7/8 in the chat. Great to see you, Jay. Yes, thank you. Nice shirt, he says. Yes, his band Gizmachi. They play that complicated rock on Ibanez.
Oh yeah, go listen to that on Spotify.
You won't hear a Rainbow Machine on Gizmachi.
But it's I don't know, if you hate heavy music, don't listen to it, because you're just gonna be mad that you took my suggestion. But if you like heavy music, look it up.
Yeah,
really, really good stuff.
Brad Guitar Miller says it has to do with the value of the pot. Yeah, but I buy cheap pot, so I don't know. Maybe that's why it doesn't work right.
What
probably whatever's in the volume pedal. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Okay. Yeah. Maybe.
Let's see. What else do I see in here? Unbelievable was asking your favorite locking tuner.
Locking tuner. I'll tell you what, man. I have probably in my life used 4 or 5 different styles of locking tuner. I'll show you guys in a minute what I did to that. To that. Where is it? Where's my finger? To that guitar. If anybody's noticed, that's one of the new FU tone guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll show you what I did to it. But I did put locking tuners on it, and I used hip shot. Not only because that's what I had already, but I also happen to think that they're fantastic locking tuners. I've used Spurzels. They're good too. I've used the Schaller locking tuners. They're good. And the thing is, they all kind of function the same way. The only one that I've got that on one of my guitars, it's the Steinberger tuners. Have you seen those?
I've seen them, but I haven't tried them.
Basically, on the back, it's this screw knob that tunes it up and down, but it's a post. So you'll see them on, like Gibson used them on the Firebirds for a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't have that thing that juts outside.
They're weird.
It goes through.
Yeah.
And on the top of it, so like if here's your headstock and the tuner's going this way and your string is going over that way. So on the top, there's like a little T, and you unscrew that T, stick the string through the hole, pull it tight, and then you screw down that T.
Nope. Forget it. That's like PRS with their old tuners back. Like, fuck that. There's math involved. I just want to stick it in, wind it up, be done with it.
No, it's it's fine, except for on thinner gauge strings.
Right.
It may have been user error. I'm gonna say that's as likely as any other excuse for why this was happening. But for thinner gauge strings, at first I was having issues getting the thin, like the 9, to lock into place, and you got to crank that little
right.
handle on the top, that little T. You got to crank that so hard on those thin strings, and it hurts my widow thumb. So
and we're probably slicing halfway through it to get a good grab on it, so it's just waiting.
I ended up using like like a wrench or pliers or something to kind of get it in there.
Sure.
But then I'm always worried that I'm going to break it and over tighten it. You shouldn't have to use tools to tighten your locking tuners.
Yes.
That's my, if you want to take a piece of wisdom away from this today, is that you shouldn't have to use tools to tighten your locking tuners. It should just be finger tighten and should be good to go.
Yeah. I like the Brazils. I've had them on my Strat since 1993, I think.
No, they're fine. They're great. And what I like about
the only drawback to them is if I don't know, they could have changed it. Because again, I have literally your OG Gen ones, right? 93 that you can unlock it to the point where the whole unit will come out and you could lose the little shaft. I have seen, I think on the Grover ones, that's all one piece. So that won't happen.
Right. And the hip shot ones are that way as well. You can unscrew the pin all the way out if you want. But there's a little bit of resistance when you get to the end, so you have to force it to get it out.
Right.
But the reason Sprizzle did it the way they did it is because they didn't want to machine ones for, bass side versus treble side headstock placement.
Right.
So you can actually take the thing apart and reverse it if you wanted to.
Nice. Brad Miller putting a link to FU Tone in there. So let's talk about this FU Tone guitar. A bunch of people are salivating in the chat about it.
All right. Let me go fetch it.
I saw the original FU Tone guitar at Winter NAMM 2019. Adam had a booth and he said, "He's over here, check this out." And I went, "Holy crap, what's this?" He says, "All my parts on a guitar." And I went, "Holy crap." It has changed a bit since then. Not that you would really know, folks. I remember he was telling me it then had the new coil tapping FU Tone pickups. And I said, "Yeah, imagine that. Coil tap on FU Tone pickups. Wonder who came up with that idea." He goes, "Yeah, I know you did." When he released them, I'm like, "Do they coil tap?" Yeah, there.
How well can you see this? You know what? Let me put some more light on it in this room.
You do that. And the Wolves with Woodsy. Good to see you, my friend.
Oh,
see the
guitar. All right. What we have here, folks, this is the FU Tone Super Strat guitar. They just got them in. If you follow them on Instagram or the Facebooks, you will notice that they've been pushing them real hard over the last week. And so he put up the family photo of all the different colors, and I started going through and I'm like, oh, they're all pretty cool, but like I liked the seafoam, I liked the white with the gold and like gold hardware.
I had Jay on the seafoam green one. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. Like the yellow one, I was like, I don't need a yellow guitar. But I'm also trying to think, because I use this Charvel.
I think everybody should have one yellow guitar, Rob.
I don't think that. I mean,
I have blonde.
If you want one, great. That's, I don't think everyone should have one. I think the people who want it should, and then the people who don't should be not forced to have one.
Maybe just one there to remind them that they don't want one.
But no, that's okay.
Well, all guitar colors matter.
All right. Anyway,
I have one of each. It's like a bowl of Skittles.
So I started looking at the colors. Like, man, I like the white, but I think by the time I decided that I really liked it, they were already sold out. I was looking for a guitar to kind of play back up to my white Charvel, and my white Charvel is double locking. It's got the D-tune on it, and I thought, well, I could try to outfit another guitar that I've already got, but I don't really have one that like feels the way I want it to feel or sounds the way I want it to sound. And I wanted to get a guitar that I didn't have to monkey with a lot, and this seemed to be the closest thing to what so then I said, I called Adam and I said, is there a possibility that I could get a purple one but with gold hardware? And he says, no, I can give you a gold bridge. So they put a gold bridge on it, and that is right here.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks gorgeous on this. I'm sorry, this bad angles. And hey, there you are, everybody.
Hey.
But the gold bridge looked awesome. But then but then it had black knob, pickup selector, black kill switch, which is black kill switch in all of them, regardless. Black tuning machines, and I'm sorry, this one had chrome. So this one had chrome knob, but a black tip on the chrome pickup selector, black kill switch, and then chrome tuners and chrome locking nut. So I went through with parts that I have. I put the gold Tesi switch on there.
Nice.
This is the 16 millimeter, and it dropped right in. I didn't have to do anything to get it to go in. I happen to have a couple of this is an amalgamation of a couple of different pickup selector switches. It's a gold pickup selector switch that I pulled the tip off, and then I put a chrome tip on there from a different pickup selector switch, obviously the gold knob. And then what I couldn't do, because I didn't have this is a 41 millimeter nut, so an R1, if you know.
Okay.
But I didn't have it.
Beware R1.
41 millimeter is unusual. So 42 and 43 are the ones that you see, and I have both of those in gold, but I don't have a 41 at all. So I took the nut blocks from a gold set. I left the chrome nut,
which you barely notice.
Well, what I think is kind of cool, because that's what we have on the pickup selector.
Right. Yeah, I do dig it.
Gold with chrome. And then on the tuning, so these are the Hipshot tuning machines. Again, that happen to be what I have, but they're also really solid tuning machines.
Right.
So I put those on, and then I kind of did a thing with the fasteners, where I've got a gold nut and then the chrome washers.
I dig it.
So it took me about an hour and a half maybe to switch out all the parts. Obviously I had to get the soldering iron out and to change the pickup kill switch rather. The pickups are great. They're hot. They sound really good. I had 2 gigs in the Atlanta area over the weekend. I didn't even pull the other guitar off of the rack. I just used this one all night. So
they play like butter.
You know what? I mean, out of the box, I had to lower the bridge a little bit, and obviously that's something that is going to be as much personal preference as anything else.
Sure.
But I don't have any complaints about the way it plays. I don't have any complaints about the way it sounds. I feel like maybe I probably need to do a little bit to, I don't know. I was having, not that it was going out of tune a lot, but I was having some very minor tuning stability issues, which could have just as easily been because of I put new strings on it. I mean, I stretch them out really well, but you know, I got the guitar Thursday. I took it to a gig on Friday. Stuff happens.
Well,
so this locks at the tremolo, it locks at the nut, and then it locks back here. And I would normally not advocate for such redundancy with the locking tuners on a Floyd Rose style system, but in this case, I'll tell you what it does do is it reduces the amount of time you spend changing the strings each time by probably 10 minutes. Because think about how much time you spend just twisting this thing around, especially if it goes around a couple of times, you know.
Yeah. I do a wind and a half, even if it's not a locking system.
Yeah. So there you go. I love
it. I like to play fast and loose with my tuning, so Jay Hannon knows that.
So it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, for those who want to actually tune their guitars, I suppose. Yeah.
If you guys ever want to look at the back, there's the back with the tuning stabilizer and
got it.
High tension spring. I did tighten that when I set it up.
The back of that Looks a hell of a lot like the back of my Kramer for some reason. That would be because it's all the same parts. Except I don't have the springs at a diagonal. I have them straight on. And I didn't replace the claw because my soldering iron at the time was like, no, we're not soldering to a claw.
Well, look, if you need a replacement, you know a guy. So is that what you did? Is you just got a bunch of FU tone parts and
a lot, yeah. Titanium saddles. It's got the D-tuna, big block, the trim stop, the springs. He threw in a claw without me asking, and then and then I did a Bourne's pot too. It's a Sean Silas signature Bourne's pot. High friction, and I like it.
See, that's what I need because when I get going on my cans,
when you get all excited.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've just been playing and suddenly like my tone is all sucked out and I'm wondering what happened. Why can I suddenly not hear anything, or why with this distortion pedal going is my tone way cleaner than I expect it to be? And then I fiddle with my volume. Now it's just second nature. I don't wonder that anymore. I go to the volume knob and I just turn it back off and I'm ready to go.
Exactly. And I want to welcome here. We got Mr. Pedals himself, Lawrence, in the chat.
Hey.
LPD Pedals, which, Lawrence, did we sell out of the Soleil? I think he had one left as of yesterday. It's likely gone by now. Had it here just in case we need to sell that last one, Lawrence. You know that
Any questions about this FU tone guitar?
Yes. Any questions at all? Let's see. What do we got here? I saw a bunch of them talking to each other, and then I just got lost at looking at the beauty of that guitar. No, that's all. It's all about Lawrence. Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, there's Mark Dillon. Good to see Mark in here. Brad thought that was fast. I just grabbed that guitar, I guess. People commenting makes string changes easy. So that would be during the locking tuner segment. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice guitar. The guitar's stunning. That gold is fire.
It is fire. And I sent some photos over to some people at FU Tone.
Right.
And they were like, oh wow. So I don't know. I mean, maybe this is something that they do in the future on another run of these with the purple, and you probably just can't really even see it here, but the flame on this is so cool.
You can't see it, unfortunately.
It's subtle but striking at the same time. I mean, it's real tight.
John DeShane was asking what pickups are in it.
They're the FU Tone humbuckers.
Which I want to say are like an 11.8, 11.9 output on the neck and about a 15 on the bridge.
The neck is
or is it more on the neck? 14?
No, I want to say that the neck might be. I'm sorry, I looked at the specs and I remember thinking that it was high. I think the bridge is around 12 and the neck is lower than that, maybe 9.5 or something.
Oh, then they're lower than they used to be, because I think they used to be that it was like 11 something and then a 15 in the bridge.
But they're hot pickups, no question. They are
hot pickups. I have a set in the Mockingbird here.
Yeah, they're good. They're good pickups. They I gig with a Helix. They pushed the front end of the Helix real well.
And I'm not going to say they're made in the same factory as the Mexican Wolfgang pickups. I'm not going to say that.
Why would you? Yeah, they're great. It's a great guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. So if anyone in the chat watching this in the future, in the replay, has bought or is thinking about buying one of these guitars, the kill switch in there it's a decent kill switch, but it's really cheap. It's made out of plastic. Actually, what I did like about it versus mine is the head on it is probably 2 millimeters higher.
Okay.
Kind of sticks out, and then it's like a domed top. It's not bad. I don't know how long they would last. I'm not saying that they wouldn't last very long, but typically when you have a plastic bodied switch like that, they typically don't last that long.
That's why I like the metal. Yeah, I like your stuff.
Yeah, and like I say, my 16 millimeter switch popped right in there. Took me 3 minutes to change it out. You just unsolder the wires that are on the one in there, and you just put them in the same terminals on the Tesi switch, and you're good to go.
Billy Baloney says, I can't do hot pickups. Well, you just back off the gain a little more.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. The hot pickups aren't for everybody. You know, I like to have punch, but I've got guitars with hot pickups and medium and low.
Exactly. Variety.
And I try to consider myself a pretty versatile player, but the reality is that my hot pickup guitars are always my favorite ones.
Randy Crooks with the super chat. Okay, because would you just show off what I bought yesterday and discuss? Okay, so Randy texted me yesterday. He went on a buying spree. Imagine that. And this guitar, and he got a nice deal on it. It's a 2004 Fender Showmaster SSS.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they are sweet.
You said it's 84?
2004.
Oh, 2004.
Yeah. So, there we go. It's a little better. There we go.
Is that Japanese?
Korean.
Korean, okay.
Yes. So, yeah, he got a nice deal on it. And I think they're going to go up in value. They seem to be sweet. They're different, and they're pretty damn cool. And thank you very much, Randy. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a cool guitar.
Cool guitar. When he first said it, I'm like, where was that made? Because I was thinking, it just said Korean to me because it reminded me of those. Fender Korea builds those weird, set neck tellies and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, I'm down with a set neck telly. That's cool. Because they'll do it with a really cool access and stuff, kind of little Les Paul access type cut, aggressive. Yeah. So congrats, Randy.
Yeah, that's a cool find.
Very cool.
You don't see, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not looking, but I feel like you don't see a whole lot of those.
Charles 75NS, Rob, what are the advantages of having a kill switch?
Well, the advantages of having a kill switch are twofold. First of all, if you're the type of player, number A, if you're the type of player who wishes to have a fast percussive stutter to your playing style, the kill switch allows you to go. That's the best I can mimic it with my voice. It does sound a little different when you're doing it on a guitar. That's so for those that know or don't know or are wondering, really, this is information that you can use anywhere in your life. A momentary kill switch is the kill switch that allows you to do that fast stutter. So while you're pressing it, it's killing the signal. As soon as you let go, it's not doing that anymore. They're spring loaded. They come back out. They are really there for some pretty fast action. I always specify with my factories that we want to use light springs, and we want that, there. So you kind of have to be careful because you don't want to get such a light spring that it might not react the way you want it to. Like maybe it doesn't come back as fast as you want it to.
Sure.
But I've got a pretty good formula going right now where it's a nice light touch, but it rebounds quickly. Then you've got a latching kill switch. The latching kill switch, you press it until it clicks, and then it's going to stay in that position until you press it and click it again. So people will use a latch and kill switch for a variety of options. One of them is to certainly just mute the guitar. And another one would be to split your coils on a humbucker, so you could use it for that as well. I've got a customer in England that makes really beautiful high-end instruments, and they are putting my latch and kill switches. They've ordered gold ones a couple of times, and I think their recent order had some stainless steel ones on there, but they just use it so each pickup goes through this switch, and it's just an on-off for each pickup.
Makes sense. The modern version of like Kramer with their individual toggles for each pickup.
Yeah. Do you remember in the 80s, Ben, there's this company called Star Switch?
Yes.
Do you remember that? And their whole thing was that it was like your pickup selector switch with 5 push buttons on it. And it would just do exactly the same thing that a lever switch would do, but and they may have had lights in them. So like whichever one you had selected would light up.
Possibly, yes.
Which I'm sure they went out of business in, they started in 1982 and they probably went out of business by like 1988, but
right.
Well, no, that's not true, because I remember seeing the company itself at NAMM in late 90s, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, they were in the basement, and their product was something else, totally.
Guaranteed in the basement. Guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
They are not a main showroom company.
It was like a 5x2 booth. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a small. It was like a 10x10, but their product wasn't that switch anymore. It was something totally unrelated. It was like a MIDI something or other. I don't even know. But it was crazy, and that is for me, it's like such a weird piece of nostalgia that you'd always see it in the back of like Guitar for the Practicing Musician. You know what? I just remembered something. I've got boxes and boxes of Guitar for the Practicing Musician from when I first started playing. So I first started playing guitar. I bought my first Guitar for the Practicing Musician in 1988.
Okay.
And I probably bought nearly every issue for a lot of years. And at one point I had the subscription. And as you know, that Guitar for the Practicing Musician magazine is now defunct, but yeah.
Hey, we got the one and only Boner Jams in the house. Says, look at these handsome SOBs. Great show, boys. Hope everyone has a good week. Oh, it's going to be much better now that you stopped by, buddy.
For sure.
And great job the other night. He and Jay on Metal Wednesdays. I can't remember who the guest was, but Boner, he kept it somewhat in check. He didn't fanboy out too much, and he was able to conduct an interview, but he had like notes, and yeah, it was quite entertaining.
So, that's what you got to do. Be prepared, because then you can do like Chris Farley, right? Hey, remember when you played on the roof?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Pretty much it. That's why I have to do these things live. I got to rely on the chat for content.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like one of our phone calls. That's it, right?
It's phone calls with the million eavesdroppers.
Exactly. Yeah, we got 66 watching.
That's good.
Yeah. I don't think K-Tel made the Star Switch, Terry. K-Tel, though. I can imagine that.
What? Say that again.
He mentioned the Star Switch, brought to you by K-Tel. Do you remember K-Tel Records?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to dig through my magazines and find an ad for that, and I'll put it up on Instagram. If you are not following me personally as Tesi Switch from Instagram, you can just type in @Tesi Switch, and that's me. That's sometimes I put some personal stuff up in there. Sometimes it's all about the kill switches. Sometimes I share photos that customers or builders have have put up.
Sure.
I haven't done it in a long time, but sometimes I just will play a random guitar solo and not say what it is and see if anybody can figure it out.
And I'm like, yes, but I'm terrible at that, because you'll do some like deep track too. A very popular band. You're like, remember this song? This was the B-side to that or something. Like, I'm like, you bastard, I know that song. What is
What
that?
did I do? I did one, and it's funny because I heard the song today on our way back from Atlanta. But I'm a huge fan of Tesla, and on the record after the Great Radio Controversy, which was I don't recall what it's called. Apparently, I'm not as big of a fan as I thought. But the song was the song was huge. It was on the radio. What You Give, right? It's not what you got, it's what you give. Well, there's a solo. No, there's a solo that wasn't on the radio cut. That wasn't on the radio edit.
Okay.
And I've always loved the solo. It's so melodic and just flows so beautifully. And Frank Hannon is known for
Medicine.
Yes, that's the album. And he's not that he's known for, but he often plays an SG. And I happen to have my white SG out, and I started playing through the solo, and there was like a tone that reminded me of it that I was fiddling with. So I start playing the solo, and I wanted to listen to it to see how close I got as I was remembering it. And what did I do? I went to Spotify or YouTube, or probably YouTube, and I start looking to hear the solo, and I'm playing through the whole song, and then it got to the part where I was expecting the solo to be, and it just launched right into another chorus. So it's like, wait a minute. So I had to dig a little deeper to find the solo to listen to it. But it's such a great solo. Do yourself a favor, go find the song from Tesla, What You Give, and listen for all the guitar work on that song is great. The acoustic guitar, that little intro with the interesting little riff that he does. Great tune. Although you may disagree if you don't like Tesla. A lot of comments don't.
Unsub. Yeah. John had asked what was for dinner. I made pork chops tonight because I like pork chops, and I fried them in bacon grease because I could.
Is it a little level of redundancy there?
It's a good redundancy, though. I tell you, they weren't dry.
Oh, I bet.
Can't be good for you. But
I've not had any dinner. So I'm pretty wiped out from the road, man. Not that it was a
Brad Miller asked about an hour ago. So how did the gigs go?
Oh, man. So I don't know if any of you all are from the Atlanta area, but that's where we were. Friday night, it was at Mad Life Stage and Studios in Woodstock, Georgia, which is a small, kind of a weird town with a lot of weird rules and laws, but what a cool venue. It's a small venue. I mean, if you put 300 people in there, it's asses to elbows. But and now with COVID, they were not trying to fill to capacity. So we sold almost as many tickets as they made available, which is pretty good. But the stage, it's a good size stage. They've got totally pro sound guys. They've got their lighting rig is ridiculous. Their lighting rig is so good, and the dude running the lights is like 1,000% pro. So it looked like he was just our lighting guy, and that was our lighting rig. That's how, like, he was on top of it with all the breaks. He was on top of it with, we give him some lighting cues on our rider as we sure. Before we book the gig or as we're booking the gig, but not everybody pays attention to that. So, thus the brown M&Ms.
Unfucking Believable is asking, what amp did you play through?
Oh, I played through a Helix. Go direct, baby. I'll just tell you, man, the audience don't care, and the sound guy does. As soon as you start bringing an amplifier to a gig, the first thing the sound guy does is turn your master on the front of house board all the way down. So running a Helix, and well, I don't care if it's a Helix or a quad cortex or a fractal or a head rush or a Kemper or whatever you're using. Every sound guy that I've talked to about it says, man, I love your setup. It sounds great and it's so easy to mix, because all you get in the front of house is just the signal that you want.
Sure.
So then we use in-ear monitors as well, which I have a digital mixer rack that I got. That's the Soundcraft UI-24. So it's got 20 XLR channels, and it's got a couple of RCA inputs, and then it's got 8 auxiliary outputs. And so we just run those out into the individual in-ear monitor transmitters, and everybody just goes in on their phone or their tablet, and they can run their own mix. And if you've ever sat through a 2-hour sound check while the sound guy's going, all right, stage right guitar, what do you need in your mix? And then you set all the levels, and then you go to the next guy and set all his levels, and then you go to the third guy, and for however many people are in your band. And then you've got to all play something together, and then you got to do it all again, because now you've realized that you didn't get enough hi-hat the first time, or you didn't get enough bass the first time. So being able to control all that while we're playing, while we're setting up almost, you know. And then
basically, it eliminates the need for a professional monitor guy.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah. So I ended up buying a mic splitter. So it's a rack with 24 inputs on the front, and then it's got 2 snake trunks coming out of the back. One of them is 5 foot that I just wrap around to the front of the rack and plug into my mixer. The other one goes to the house. So they plug in everything one time. I split it up. Bob's your uncle.
Nice.
It's slick, man. I can't tell you how much time that has saved us. So that was Friday night, Mad Live Stage and Studios. Then Saturday night we played at an outdoor festival in Grayson, Georgia. Mm-hmm. And this town had built this enormous pavilion. The stage was so big. This is like one of those stages where the guy all the way on the other side, like, it's going to take you a minute to get there. You know, like if you want to go jam, like, because we've got a guitar player on each side of the stage. If I wanted to go back to back with him, unless we're meeting in the middle, I got to kind of jog a little bit.
Sure.
So, which is the only exercise I ever get, so I don't have a problem with
it. How do you get your exercise? Big stages.
Big stages. Big stages. We're rocking out. Yeah.
Nice.
So
and apparently, Lawrence just dropped in the chat here. Apparently, there's a new delay coming out by his company at the end of the month. Digital with tap tempo, tone control, and tail switching.
Who said that?
Lawrence at LPD
Pedals.
Pedals.
Of course. Okay.
Just dropped
well, that's what I thought, but I didn't want to say Lawrence and then be wrong.
Yeah.
So that sounds pretty cool.
That does sound pretty cool.
Ben's like watching the money go flying out of his wallet. Bye.
Yep.
See you next time, buddy.
Yep.
All right.
Actually,
so
I've been playing with no delay lately because I'm so in love with this damn reverb still.
So I want to show you two more things. Can I show you 2 more things?
Sure, of course.
Then I just want to hang out and talk about random garbage instead of products. But or we can I'm always happy to talk about whatever. But this is something that just came out. This is a very cool Keeley compressor now in a mini pedal format, 2 knobs. 129. And what a great little compressor pedal, if you guys know.
If you use a coupon code.
Or could it be less? I don't know. I'm not going to say that the code Canucks works on every product on the site, but it probably might. All right. Anyway, the Keeley compressor is one of the most usable and ubiquitous compressors. I believe it is the #1 selling compressor for guitarists worldwide. Very possibly. They have made and sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these. I don't know what the number is, but they've been making some version of this compressor for many years. This is the latest version with the 2 knobs, nice small format, 129. If you wanted to get the next one up, which has 4 knobs on it, the compressor plus
Right.
that one is 149.
I have that. I enjoy that.
So,
I'm
yeah, I
trying
mean,
not to buy that.
that's the one. That's the one that they just basically sell as many as they can possibly make. They just keep making them. So,
Yeah.
all right. One other thing is that a while back, you guys might know that I have kind of a, I don't know what you'd call it. It's my website. It's just another website where I sell stuff, but the main product is the Helix knob. So you guys that are Helix users, and I started developing these aluminum replacement knobs for Helix because I was seeing a lot of reports of the Helix knob coming apart because it's basically just an aluminum shell with a plastic insert, and it's fine. It honestly, I've been using a Helix for what, seven or so years. I've never had a problem with the stock knobs, but the other thing was that I started seeing people getting like custom skins and things put on, and they would take the stock knobs and just put a little vinyl sticker on the top of the knobs, and I thought, how cool would it be if there was actually just a replacement knob that looked good?
Way cooler. Way cooler.
So
and somehow improves the tone of the unit. I don't understand how that works, Rob, but I figure it's just science. But somehow, yes, by replacing the knobs, not just with little cheap decals or borrowing your girlfriend's nail polish to color the tops. If you actually go through like I did, I'd show off my unit, except Absolute Mayhem, who was here earlier in the chat, still has my HX stomp, refuses to return it.
Well, that's something that you guys need to work out together as a family. Sounds like.
Yep.
So the first version of the knob, obviously they're solid aluminum, little set screw on the side, and it came with a whole set for your Helix. The volume knobs have a little. Can you see? Have a little cutout to kind of point away. This is the old version though. So
okay.
that was the headphone volume, and then here's the master volume. This is the old version. I'm just trying to give you a comparison of kind of what has changed. So now there's a V2 of the knobs, and I did some upgrades on it where, first of all, the pointers have contrasting paint in them now.
We need that. Yeah,
they're still solid. The gold, and it's not like a nickel or not like a plated brass gold like you'd see on Guitar Hardware, but it's anodized gold, and it's a little bit more like goldy than the other one was, kind of a bright gold.
Sure.
This is a little more of a glossy top, and then I don't know, did I show you so a black pointer on the gold knobs, and then the knurling on the side now. How can I get this in focus? There you go, everybody. You're not going to be able to see this, but it's like a diagonal.
Photos on the website, folks.
Crosshatch. Yeah, go to the website. You'll be able to see them. HelixKnobs.com is where they are. They're not on.
Brad Miller's been all over the chat with the links in there, as well as Terry. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
But then you've got the chrome, well, silver. I don't want to call them chrome, but they are pretty shiny. The silver.
Nice. Classy.
You got red. And this red, I think Brad got some. Brad, did you get red ones? Brad got some red ones before, I think. What color did you get, Brad?
Yeah. What color did you get, Brad?
Anyway, these are definitely a much like deeper red than the previous version.
They're nice.
And then same with the blue has been really popular, but this is definitely like a darker, more bluey blue than previous.
Nice. Yeah, it looks less toy-like, just being that little bit darker.
Well, I honestly I think it's just that the other one kind of looked faded, and really the reason that the other ones look the way they did, and they're not bad, they're just not as dark, but the reason they look the way they did is because I have a blue Helix and I wanted to match that. And so the factory that made them, I was sending them photos of what I wanted it to look like, and they actually did a really good job of matching that. But now it's like there's only 1,500 blue Helixes in the world, and there's 779,581 black ones. So people don't care if the blue knob matches their Helix. I'll say most people don't care.
Brad says he does have the red ones.
Yeah, so Brad can attest the red one. This red is darker, more, I'll say a more vibrant red.
I went with the green.
Here's kind of a good comparison. So the green one that I was showing before.
Yep.
It's kind of a weird light green, almost like a mint green. But it's like if you left the green out in the sun for a day or a week or whatever, however long it takes for. I mean, these are anodized, so they're not going to fade or chip or anything like that. But
they're cool.
Yeah, it just kind of had like a fade. In fact, I had some comments where people would tell me on the red ones before, they'd say, "Well, this isn't really red; it's a pink." Well, it's not. I've got pink ones, and they're definitely more pink. But I can see I can understand why you would say, well, it's not red, it's pink. Okay. Just because it's kind of faded or lighter. Anyway, so that's the stuff that I've got. That's all I wanted to show.
Charles asks, what is the one item that's on your site that you think's awesome but doesn't sell as much as you think it should? Because it could be something that people aren't aware of, because as Amanda's been repeatedly saying in the chat, it's more than just switches, folks. Check it out. Vastness, all kinds of stuff.
Well, for sure. What's funny is that the knobs that, like the Wolf, I have so many different kind of knobs. It's not just, I've got all kinds of, not just the Helix knobs, and not just, I've got other aluminum knobs. I've got other, brass knobs that are like guitar knobs and various finishes. And I've got Boss pedal knobs in like 9 different colors. So there's a lot of things. That it's a pretty vast website for such a small company.
Yeah, I haven't gone down that rabbit hole of hot rodding my pedals. Jesus.
But I'll say this, some of the things that you won't find anywhere else that aren't necessarily a kill switch. I have a cable that has a quick connector in the middle and like 3 leads coming out of both sides. And I use that cable. I'll attach one side to my output jack, and then I'll attach the other side to the different components on the pick guard. And when I'm taking the pick guard off, I just go doink.
Oh, nice. And
then I can set the guitar over there while I work on the pick guard here. And then instead of having to get everything soldered up and put all together and to test it, I just snap it back on. And if something goes awry, I don't have to have the guitar sitting there completely soldered up. And you don't notice it. It's just a super easy way to, sorry, I might have a photo of it, but it's called the pick guard wiring harness, I think. I know I'm terrible. I'm awful. I should know what my stuff is called, you guys.
It's on the site, honest.
But that's a great one. That's and I sell them. I sell a number of them. Not a huge number, but they do move. And really, the reason I started doing that was the main reason I started doing that was because I was doing so many pickup changes on like
Right.
on my Strat, and like I think I had an Ibanez. Well, definitely on this this blue gem that my head is blocking, this one right there. I was doing a lot of pickup changes on that one, and so let's see if you can kind of see here.
Nice.
So that's the one that one side is on the one side's on the guitar, one side's on the pick guard. Super easy to do. And working on that thing is a dream.
I bet.
The other one is one that you know of real well, Ben, and that's the strap locks.
Yes.
So the strap locks that we have are they'll fit on your Schaller buttons, no problem. They'll go on any strap, but what is different about them than a Schaller or a Dunlop or anybody else's strap locks is that it's got two nuts that go on the top to secure it onto the strap. One of them is metric and one of them would be standard. So you get them on there, and because they would loosen at different intervals.
Yes, because it's a dual threaded shaft.
It's dual thread. So
remember, Nam, I was standing there for like 10 minutes. I'm like, I've worked in machine shops. How? Like,
no, I mean, I still don't really even understand. I mean, let me see if I have one right here. I may, but the fact that it's two threads on that thing.
Yeah, they somehow machined two sets of threads on one shaft.
And do you remember the guy who makes them was telling us that this is the same type of technology. I don't think I have one here. He said this is basically this is the same thing that they use on like big steel, like the way when you're putting buildings or bridges or whatever together, and you've got these enormous 11-inch bolts going through a piece of like an I-beam or something.
And you use like a lock washer per se, because
well, and it is essentially that, because you get it in there, and then the smaller one or the one on the outside is the metric one, right? And so for them both to back up together, it actually makes them tighter.
Yes.
So they use that for the structural integrity of if it's good enough for a building. High-rise building, it's probably good enough for you.
Yeah, and it was crazy because he was just starting that to the point where family business spin-off, like when you try to remember, we were trying to look them up for a while, and I'm like, all I'm seeing is industrial fittings, and you're like, I'm seeing the same thing. I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. Dad, I have an idea. We have the equipment. I can spin off, make some extra money.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing concept.
Yeah, it is. And so that's another one where it's really a sleeper. I think people don't necessarily look for that kind of stuff on my website, but it's definitely a cool product. Oh, and they sent me when I got my order from them, they sent me this little thing. Dear Rob, thank you for waiting, because it kind of took them a long time to ship some stuff to me. Small gift for you. Take care. And then it says on the back, guitar pick, please enjoy. So I don't know if guitar pick was put in quotation marks on purpose, but check this out. Can you see how big this guitar pick is? I don't think I ever want to take it out of this package because it's special. But it's the reason it's so big. Can you see it? Like whenever you hit a note, it lights up.
Oh, wow.
Light.
Sure.
Ben, it's called Is this backwards to you? No, okay, it wouldn't be.
No.
It's called Lightning Guitar Pick.
Oh, oh man, we got to start carrying those.
I'm probably not going to. But this is one that if you're oh, and when I got it, before I'd even open it up, like I was grabbing it, and you can see it lighting up through the little envelope. Oh, it's hilarious! So fun. It's so fun. They have
totally different company, Terry. Totally different.
Yeah. Although I do have from Japan, I have the Master 8 guitar picks.
Yes, because he's like from Master 8. I'm like, no, that's a totally different company. Same country, but
yeah, and the Master 8 picks have been doing really well. Let me ask you guys in the chat if you have bought and tried the Master 8 picks. Just make a quick little mention. I've been using them.
Will work, folks.
What's that?
Which was hilarious. Funny enough, I went to shoot a store tour in Kingston with my sister and Absolute Mayhem in the chat a few weeks ago there. And we're driving down the highway, and all of a sudden I'm like, I didn't bring a guitar pick. Like, how did I leave home without a pick? And she's like, wait, I have one. And it was a Master 8 pick, but it wasn't the ones that you had sent her. It was one that I had given her right like a couple weeks before you had sent her some. So I was like, sweet, I get my pick back. So I didn't give back to her. But I was like, sweet. This will work.
So yeah, they've got a new product, and I am trying to determine if I want to get on board with it.
Okay.
It's coated guitar strings.
Oh yeah.
And I'll just say, man, I'm such a huge fan of D'Addario strings. I've been using them almost exclusively for, I'll say, 20 or so years, with brief sessions of like trying some other things out.
Sure.
Because at one point my career was buying accessories, so I would get people sending me stuff all the time. So if there's a string company that's been out there, I've used their strings at some point. So I've got a pretty, and I used to make notes. I'd put like I'd tape a piece of paper to the back of my guitar, and I'd write down what day I put them on, how many hours I spent playing it, how many gigs, and then like when did one break, and then what did I think of the tone like every time I played it. So there's a lot of good strings out there. I just haven't found one that I like more than D'Addario.
Well, it is funny. And they say, yes, a few people mentioned Brad Miller got the Master 8 picks. She says he should have got the 1 mils. My sister says, I may have some. Yep. Terry, yeah, I had sent him one. He's like, he really digs it. He says it's right up there with chicken picks for him.
Chicken picks. Oh, the chicken picks.
Yeah. Are they still around? Are they still a thing?
I believe so.
Okay. Just curious.
I believe so.
What did I see? Or no, I was thinking too when you mentioned, you're like, yes, I'm looking at new product possible. I'm like, yes. What would you like demoed, Rob? You're like, coated strings. I'm like, I'm going to do a pick slide. No company that makes coated strings wants me to do a string demo, except for D'Addario with their XT strings. I'm like,
so
coated.
That's what I have on the FU tone guitar. That's what I put on there. And just like every coated string, when I put them on, I just felt like there wasn't any brilliance to them.
But they last a long time. They're the only one where it doesn't flake apart because it's like an oil as opposed to, they say it's not an oil. I'm like, it feels like you sprayed my strings with WD-40. I'm not saying I don't like it.
Well, they're slick. Yeah, they're slick. Yeah. Well, all right. So
elixirs that just turn into dandruff as soon as you start strumming them.
And I don't know if it's different or the same as what like Clear Tone strings uses, right? So Clear Tone ended up finding this stuff that was being used to waterproof the circuit boards in soda machines.
Makes sense.
So think about like you've got a soda machine on a hot day,
Lots of humidity.
Internal AC going on, and there's a lot of condensation, and it doesn't really matter. There's no way that this thing isn't going to start to get water on it. So there's this ultra microfilm coating that it's in liquid form. So you buy it by the bucket, and it's not cheap. And a bucket of this stuff costs, I don't know, $1,000. I don't even know. I don't know. But so they found the stuff and started doing some testing with strings. And actually, what was interesting was that at one point they were doing like trade show demos where they would take a stack of like bathroom towels, like paper towels from like public bathrooms, and they would spray them with this coating on both sides and then stack them back up, and then they'd have a stack that wasn't treated with this stuff. And somebody new walks up to the booth, and they've got 2 bowls of water, and they just put the towels in each bowl, and the one that was coated comes out and it's basically still dry. So I don't know how it's different from what Cleartone was doing. Just knowing D'Addario, I'm sure it's not the same. I'm sure they've probably come up with their own proprietary formula for guitar, or I don't know, whatever.
Which has already been changed. That's why the original XTs are now like the XSs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The original XTs are no more.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think that's what I had was XS. So is it XT now or is it XS?
No, it's XS now. It was XT before. I think they still did the XTs for acoustics, but not electrics anymore. And they're having an issue with doing electric strings for the XS series as well. Initially, last time I talked to anybody at the company.
What's interesting is so when you're looking at Elixir, and only the wound strings are coated. Your plain strings are not. There's nothing on the plain strings. They're just plain strings. And the way they do it, it's a patented process, and I don't think they'd ever tell you. And I've not seen it done. I've seen a lot of strings being made in my life, but I've not seen this being done with Elixir strings. But it just makes sense that they've got that piece of Gore-Tex, and they just like you would make a string with the wrapping the phosphor bronze around the steel core. They just take it and they wrap it, you know, right, on a spindle or a lathe or a lathe probably that they use for that. And that's what it's a thing that's wrapped around the string versus and no one else can do that because that's their process. That's their patented process. So that's why everybody else that you see basically is some sort of a coating that was done like the Cleartone strings. Their plain wire is coated before they wrap it, so every part of that string is protected in that way.
Right
now, it's not going to stop your finger gunk from getting in between the windings, right? And that's really the benefit of the Elixir strings, because all of the finger gunk and sweat and grime that would get in and potentially deaden the strings,
right,
can't get in there because the Gore-Tex is in there. However,
that's okay on that hand, but the other end of the strings get trashed in about 15 minutes.
Well,
I just knock all the coating off the strings in no time.
It's trade-off, right? I mean, you got to decide, like,
which it looks weird because the strings look like they look new, dead spot, new.
Yeah. But see, I think that Elixirs they're fine. The strings are fine, and the coating makes a lot of sense. I'm not a fan of coated strings because they just don't sound. They're not bright. They're not as bright as non-coated strings. That coating deadens the strings, and it's significant. And that's like when I put the strings on that FU tone guitar, as I was tuning it up, I was like, man, it already sounds like the strings are dead. And I never, and before, like on everything else, I've got the D'Addario NYXL strings. Those strings are fantastic. They're stable. They last forever. And I just can't, I'm having a hard time imagining a situation where I'm going to think I need to have a coated string, but I wanted to try them out because I do a lot of.
Lawrence asked if I've tried the Nano levels. Yes. Well, the last set of Elixirs I bought was about 4 years ago. And Yeah, I think I've tried them all over the years because they're like,
Mhm.
hey, new and improved. I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And just guitar dandruff.
Yeah, well, like even they're like the nano web and the microweb or whatever they.
They're all well
They're
because the way I rake the pick across the strings as I strum, anyways. As
well,
evidence when I did the demo on those metal picks that you sell.
yeah.
Those strings did not last more than 15 minutes.
No, they wouldn't. They're not going to.
No.
Um,
No.
yeah.
Those picks are good for the intricate stuff. They're not for the cowboy chords.
Oh, the T1 picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no question.
Yep.
No question.
I even blew the finish off those in about 15 minutes too. I was surprised. Like, trash the strings, trash the pick. I'm like, all right, well, it lasted for the demo.
Which one did you get? Did you get the demo pack with one of each, or did you get the guitar ones that are like black?
I think it was just 3 blacks you sent me.
Okay. Yeah. Fun stuff though, man. I got some
They're
weirdo picks.
different. I was great to try it because I was like, oh, all right. Because I was like, this is totally unique for me.
You want to see some of my weirdo picks, Ben?
Sure.
All right.
Yes, Lawrence, you have great picks as well. Which, as he says, they come with every pedal. You get 2 different sizes, along with the feet that he doesn't put on in case you will just want to go straight to the Velcro and have to rip the feet off. But you do have feet in case you want to put feet on your pedals, which I've
That's right.
never put feet on a pedal once in my life.
Hey, you guys, do yourselves a favor. Really, you're do a favor to the next person who owns the pedal that you just bought, and don't put Velcro over the stickers on the back of the pedal, like the serial number stickers and stuff like that. All right?
Yeah, you don't need to coat the whole thing.
You don't.
Which I've done. We've all done. I just found with the cost of tape going up, every time I was like, why am I? And then it got just thinner strips, thinner than just little donuts. And now it's literally, a little. Basically, I replaced the feet with pieces of Velcro, not much bigger than the feet I took off.
Right. All right. So I'm trying to get a little selection. So in this bag of picks is years worth of like product submissions, and when I was a buyer at Musician's Friend. So I've got all kinds of weird, goofy stuff, and then I used to sit down with the guys from like Dunlop and Ernie Ball, and we'd just talk about some of the weird stuff that we get in the mail. And it was always like, oh, I got one of those too. Yeah, isn't it ridiculous, or isn't it cool, or isn't it whatever? So we were talking about the chicken picks. I'm gonna have to just dump these out of my fork. We're talking about the chicken picks, and there's this company in Italy called Side Pick.
Terry's like, that looks like me come back from Winter Nam. I was like, yeah, I got about just as many sitting over in the old pick bowl.
No, dude, this is stuff you will never see at NAMM. You'll never ever see this stuff at NAMM. All right, so this is the Side Pick.
Oh dear Lord!
And it's called Side Pick. Obviously, you've got kind of not quite of a sharp. You've got a sharper, and they're different thicknesses as well. Then you've got like your rake here, and then you've got your broad flat-ish, and then if you can tell, there's like this raised kind of ring around the center of the pick. So you hold the pick, and you can kind of move it to get to the different surfaces that you want. The problem that I had with this pick is that as you're playing, and it might just be my own style, my own technique, but as you're playing, it starts to rotate kind of against your wishes.
Right. That's what I was thinking immediately. That'd be like trying to play with a fidget spinner.
But yes, it's very much like that. But then I was looking at it, and I'm kind of flipping it around, and I realized that if I just put a couple of little marks on there.
That's your chicken pick.
That's your chicken pick. And then they had the white one, and some of it's kind of worn off, but so I called it I called this the chicken pickin' before there was a chicken pick company, and the I called it the chicken pickin' or the side pick involuntary rotational conundrum. So this is this is the chicken picks.
I think I have that same one.
How big this is. Some guys really like these thick picks.
I can't play with a pick that thick. It's like
no, I can't
either. The rock.
I can't either. I mean, I'll get up to like a 1 millimeter, and that's kind of where my comfort with a pick thickness ends.
Maybe 1.14. Maybe.
Yeah, and I said that one's even a little too much for me.
Yeah.
All right, this you talk about thick picks.
Jesus.
But this has a circuit board inside there, and it's got these 2 screws on the front that are like almost like electrodes. And I'm sorry, it's only got 1 battery in there, and it requires 2. But this has the ability to, it lights up, and I wish I could show it to you because it's quite spectacular. But basically, it lights up, and you can tap tempo it, so that you could use the light as kind of a metronome. And it's cool. It's got like a little finger indentation on the one side. I wish you could see it. There you go.
Okay.
Which like really contours like the way you'd play, and then your thumb sits right on these 2 screws. But yeah, so that's a weirdo one. I just had a really great one. Hang on.
That's what I was thinking, Terry. What's that? Tamaguchi guitar pick?
Yeah, it is. It's something like that. It seems like. You got to make sure you feed it or it'll die. If you don't feed it, it'll die. You ever seen these, the wedgie picks? It's like a big, thick piece of rubber.
I'd use that to keep the tailpiece from sliding back while stringing up a Les Paul.
Oh, it would work for that, for sure. Man, where'd that one go? Where did I start putting these picks? I brought them all up here. But that's not it. Oh.
Okay, Lawrence accidentally timed out Zach. Lawrence apologizes. It was purely an accident. Someone else is getting a little spammy in the chat.
This is sunpicks.com. Don't go to the website. It's not there anymore. And then at the bottom it says, I don't know if you can read it, it says medium. So this is the consistency and thickness of a Pringles lid. And the way
they could play with like those rake picks or anything like that.
When the guy sent them to me, and he says the way I came up with this is that we're having a family get together during the holidays, and I wanted to play guitar around the fire or whatever, wherever they were playing guitar, and I didn't have a pick, and somebody brought me an unopened Kleenex box that I just pulled the little serrated thing out, and I used that as a pick, and I thought, oh, I could do this.
No.
So there you go.
No.
This is a cool one. This is from Japan.
That's different.
I wish I could find out who made it and get more, because it's a pretty cool pick. Aside from just if you can see the contour on the surface of it is like this center part is like indented, and it has It's not, I wouldn't call it a grip, but there's definitely a little bit of a texture in the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea. I can't remember. I got it at NAMM at some point. I just can't remember the name of the company that makes it. Trying to.
Yes, Terry, the Transformers pick.
It does. It looks like the Decepticons, doesn't it? Decepticons go. Have you ever seen the Strum Rose, Ben? 2 words.
I don't know.
Strum Rose.
No.
All right. Feast your eyes on this.
What the deuce?
The Strum Rose pick.
No. Just... It's like, wait, in case I snap a couple off, there's a few more to go through, I guess?
The concept behind a multi-tined pick like this is that it would provide a chorusing effect as you're strumming.
Oh,
so this has the change in the height would be so you can kind of decide if you want.
Hot. By the time you get those short ones on there, I'd have that thing all just bound up in the strings.
No, because you know here's how I mean, obviously I'm not using this thing. My sister bought it for me when I was a teenager, and I've just kind of had it as an oddity.
It's that.
I mean, have tried it, you know, on an acoustic guitar, but the philosophy here is that as it's scraping across your strings, because there's multiple surfaces, it creates a chorusing effect. Remember the jellyfish pick?
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
Except for that this one is injection molded in plastic instead of having little pieces of guitar strings molded into a plastic handle. So, and then the various height as it kind of goes into a V pattern, so that's so that you can get the same effect on the upstroke and the downstroke.
Right.
Right.
My sister says if flock of seagulls were a pick.
Kind of. So Strum Rose, R-O-S-E, but could it also have been called Strum Rose, R-O-W-S? I don't know. All right, there's one that I saw it in the bag, and now I don't see it on my pile on the floor. Oh, here's another one that kind of looks like a chicken head.
Charles says you have to try that pick out. It's the year of the chorus. Well, that's a different one.
All right, so I did this thing a while back. Ben, you probably remember when I was putting like guitar pick patents. Oh, maybe you don't. I have a Facebook page called Stupid Guitar Pick.
My sister was plugging it earlier on here. Yes.
So and you'll pretty much see all these guitar picks on that page.
I think I'm a follower of that page.
Sure. So I did a thing on that a while back, maybe a couple of years ago, where like every day or every few days I was talking about the patents that people have applied for, and I would show the patent and I would say why it's unique and then whatever became of it. Because one of the things that always struck me as amazing is because this thing actually, it says it's the AWE-in-1, AWE-in-1, and then it says something design, and then it says patent pending. So I can't tell you how many people have tried to patent something about their pick. Obviously, you can't just patent the guitar pick because it's been in use forever and ever. So what can you patent? Can you patent the material? Maybe, if it's some new material. But that being the case, you're better off. Here's your business licensing and a trade secret lesson for any of you that are thinking about patenting your guitar pick. So the good news is it doesn't matter what your patent is, it'll probably get approved. The bad news is what happens when somebody either violates your patent, and then how do you prove it? Because the other thing that you may or may not realize is that in my research that I did, I found that 90, maybe more percentage of the patents that have been granted for a guitar pick have something to do with holes in the pick. Great example. We all know this one, right? Swiss picks.
Right.
Everybody's favorite cheese becomes nobody's favorite pick. It's actually interesting, but the holes have like a little raised edge around them.
Right.
To me, they're still kind of slippery, but
I'm not a fan of them myself.
I know a lot of people like those picks. So, oh, there it is. There it is.
Okay.
Raptor. What I don't get is what what's this little hook? What's this little cutout for?
I don't know. Like, I thought that looks like a little one-time packet for like a one-time shot of lube or something. I was like, I don't know what that is. Doesn't look like a guitar pick.
That's totally, it's a guitar pick. I know, because I got it from a guitar pick company. But you've got your super sharp point, and then you've got your roundy-ish point, and then you've got the point that's going to do nothing but get caught on your strings and stop you from playing completely.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe that's your mute?
Hey, there you go. There you go. All right. So what else do I have? There's one more. I don't think maybe I have it in this pile. Let's get out my box again.
Hey, Zach's back.
I also have a little collection of guitar picks that are meant to mimic tortoiseshell. So if you've ever used an actual tortoiseshell pick,
I have.
On an acoustic guitar, on an electric guitar, I just don't think it's going to make much of a difference. But on an acoustic guitar, there's just something about the tone that is very pleasing. And it's not snake oil, it's real tortoiseshell picks. While inhumane to the tortoise population of the world, they definitely are an incredible sounding pick. And I happened to end up with an actual tortoiseshell pick. And then I had probably, I don't know, 8 different types of picks that people were trying to mimic the tone of a tortoiseshell pick. And it's what, like Red Bear, if you remember them, or if you've heard of them. There's Red Bear, and there's like Blue Chip, and that, I think even like the Ultex picks were meant to be kind of a like let's go for a tortoiseshell tone. Oh, there's one called Tortoise, Tortis, and it's plastic, but it's definitely like they make it to look like tortoiseshell. Oh, that's Red Bear. And then there's like different types of horns, like buffalo horn and like some type of bone where it's, I'm trying to remember what kind of animal. Ben, do you know? Do you happen to have any? It's like some sort of like bovine animal, like water buffalo bone or something. I don't know. Camel bone. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat knows that one. Front Love of Midnight he says wants us to convince him to get a different kind of pick. Try the Master 8 picks. They're in a variety of thicknesses as well as sizes. Herringbone.
The Master 8 picks, and I've got them. I've got some with and without grips. If you go to my website, you'll see there's a special page that I made for them, so you can just kind of see the different options available and the different features of each option. But the comment that I'm getting the most about those picks is that people really love the grip. It's something that's unique. I've actually had a few people with grip issues in their hand, like their arthritis or whatever, that's stopped them from playing. One customer sent me an email thanking me because he's now able to play again because of that grip.
Nice.
I'm gonna say, like, I use the picks and I like the grip, and they, it's not like I would imagine if you have trouble holding a regular guitar pick, that little bit of grip is going to make that big of a difference. But if it does, man, good for you. I'm happy to hear it. But I like the way it feels. I like there's the Master 8, the Infinix hard polish, which has kind of a matte finish and a rubberized grip. I like that one. There's the Infinix U, which is a different material and has kind of and I don't even think it kind of feels like a sandy grip, but I don't think it's a grip that's laid on there.
I don't know.
I think it might be like, it's almost more like the cat tongue grip on like remember the Snarling Dogs?
Yeah, it was like cat tongue, but
more
different.
like that, right? Although it's not as thick. It's not like as pokey.
It's smoother. Yeah. See you,
Um,
Lawrence. Have a good night, my friend. Thanks for stopping in.
See ya. But I feel like and there's a couple of the Signature series, and they're all Japanese guys that most Americans and most English speaking guitarists would never have even heard of. But interesting, different materials that they use, a little different shapes, and sometimes it's a different grip. And I don't know, I try to be as full line with those guys as I can be, because there's nobody else that carries them in the US. But they're great picks. They're not cheap, but they're great picks. And I will say that I do get more hours of playing, probably 3 or 4 times more hours of playing out of a pick than I do out of a Tortex, right? Because that's what I was using for a long time, is the Tortex picks, and I like those. But the Master 8 picks, they definitely do not wear as fast, and especially like if you're using like a Fender medium, get the Infinix U, the 351 shape, and get the medium gauge, which is 0.88. It's gonna last. That'll last easily 20 times longer than a celluloid pick. I mean, maybe I'm kind of heavy-handed when I play, right? But I might get like 4 or 5 songs out of a celluloid pick before it's just garbage to me.
Yeah, I don't even think I can use celluloid pick. I've snapped them because that's all there was when I started playing, right? The cheaper picks were those celluloid picks.
Yeah.
You do a pick slide and you'd carve grooves into them. I remember snapping them in half while playing. Then, discovering Tortex, and then it was just wearing down Tortex sides until I flipped the pick over halfway through the night.
Yeah, but even then, like you might get, for me, like Tortex was 2 sets. So when I was playing cover band stuff and I was doing 4 hours a night, going through 2 picks, or I'm kneeling down and I'm like rubbing it on the carpet to kind of smooth it out.
Right.
But
I've never used nylon picks live. They just sweat out of my hands in no time.
I don't have anything against them, but I'm not a fan of nylon picks. I just never have. I don't know why.
Yeah.
The thing is, you find something you like, and then it's hard to try to want to do something that different, because usually, even if it's something minor, like going from a regular pick to a Raptor pick, it's going to take some time to get used to the way that pick feels, and at the end of the day, after you've spent enough, maybe even hours with it, you may end up going, okay, well, now that I've gotten used to it, I actually like this better. But how long is it going to take you to get used to it, and how long is it going to, and why would you do that when like, I don't dislike a Tortex, 351 shaped Tortex .88 pick. I like those. It's my favorite one. So why would I want to move on to something else? The nice thing about guitar pick is that it's easy because they're, they just don't cost that much money. So it's easy to try a bunch of different things out to see what you like and what you don't like. And
Sure.
if you find, and that's the great thing is if you find one, go for it, have a lot of fun with it. And if you don't, then at least it was kind of a fun little journey,
Somebody just mentioned the hate for nylon picks is real. I love it because everyone can't stand them. Nope, can't do it. Nope. And see a Billy Baloney, which, yeah, I just realized, man, we've already gone 2 hours. Is that insane or what?
Wow. It's the quickest 2 hours I've had all day.
Yeah, no kidding. Same here. So yeah, we should probably, we still got 40 people watching at this point, but we'll do a raid over to Metalhead Hippies, folks. Head over to Metalhead Hippies after we wrap up and tell them it's a Sunday night hang raid or a Ben raid, or just say hi. Why don't you do that? So yeah, we got to cover some of your playing, obviously new products on the website, but it's more than that because it's about the hang. We're going to definitely do this again. Any parting words, my friend, as we wrap things up?
Yeah. Beer is what being an adult tastes like.
Yep. I agree. So and definitely, yes, we will do it again. Everyone's saying great show.
How about one more thing, Ben?
Sure.
Just because you don't have a whole lot of gear at the gig doesn't mean that you can't help the other members of the band move their stuff.
Yep. I agree. I had a singer at one time that had their microphone in a little flight case deal. Says, well, I'm loaded in. And I turned to him, I said, none of us need the
PA. Yeah, just remember that as a band, you're part of a team, and
that's right.
You win or lose together. Don't disappear during load in and load out. I don't need to say any more than that. I love you, Ben. Thank you for having me on your show.
Always a pleasure, Rob. So yeah, hang on the line here as we wrap things up. So as always, folks, well, first of all, thanks everybody that tuned in tonight. Again, if you're new, please subscribe. Special thanks to anybody that donated tonight. Shout out to my patrons and channel members. We'll be back tomorrow night with Connects with Guitars with Terry and Tom. That's right. And then I believe next Sunday, we have Steve from Boston coming on. Recently got himself a Tesi Switch, just saying. And then I believe 1 week from tomorrow, not totally confirmed, but pretty sure, Pete Thorne's going to come on and co-host Connects with Guitars again.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So also, if you hadn't seen already tonight, check out Pete Thorne's show from earlier today. He had Canadian rock legend Kim Mitchell on. It was awesome. It was just awesome. So everyone should check that out as well. So as always, hold those doors open. Let that lady in heady in traffic do good things, and good things will happen to you. Why? Doug's wife is real. He'll tell you. So be well, be good, happy tone chasing, and don't litter.